Here's the truth nobody tells you about buying $1 million home in the Triangle. The house that looks perfect on Zillow is probably the wrong choice for your actual life. Hi, I'm RJ Hoggard with the Hoggard Group and KW Legacy, and Tracy, my business partner, and I have helped buyers navigate $1 million decisions in the Triangle, not by selling them what looks good in photos, but by pressure testing what actually works for their lives. And today, we're breaking down what $1 million actually buys you in Apex versus Raleigh. And more importantly, which city matches the life you're trying to build, not just the house you want to show off. Now, real quick, do me a favor, drop a comment below before we even dive in. Are you leaning more towards Apex or Raleigh? What's your gut reaction? I would love to see your answer. So here's where most buyers blow it. They think the question is, which house is bigger or which one's newer? That's the wrong question. The real question is, which daily life are you buying into for the next 5 to 10 years? Because $1 million doesn't erase trade-offs, it magnifies them. Your commute, your social life, your kids' experiences, your equity growth, your weekend plans. Every choice you make at this price point has compound effects. This is even more critical if you are moving in from out of state. You're oftentimes making decisions looking at Google searches or Facebook groups or that friend who moved here 3 years ago. That's simply not enough data to make $1 million decision. So let's break down what you're actually choosing between with real numbers and real neighborhoods and real consequences. Now stay with me because around the 9-minute mark or so, I'm going to give you the exact decision framework that'll tell you which city is right for you in under 60 seconds. No guessing, no overwhelm. And if you want more specific data for the areas you're thinking about moving to, reach out to me in the link in the description or call or text using the number there you see on your screen to schedule a free consultation. We'd love to have a conversation with you. Now, let's start with Apex because this is where buyers feel like they're winning on paper. What your $1 million buys. So $1 million buys 3,500 to 4,500 square feet, single family house, built 2015 or newer. Older builds typically have larger lots, newer builds around 1/4 of an acre, 3-car garage, because you'll see in just a minute why you need those cars. An open concept kitchen and living, top-rated school districts, and Apex is really the space and predictability purchase. You're getting newer systems, modern layouts, and neighborhoods designed around families who want breathing room and quiet streets. Now, when we're talking $1 million homes in Apex, we're usually looking at a number of different neighborhoods. Here are just a few. Bella Casa. So you've got Bella Casa resort-style amenities, homes in the 3,800 to 4,200 square foot range. And then you've got Salem Village, walkable neighborhood with homes with basements. You've got Abington, family-oriented and strong HOA community and amenities as well, along with Retreat at Friendship. Now, Retreat at Friendship is the newcomer, new construction close to great schools. These neighborhoods share common traits. They're quiet, family-focused, and you're getting a lot of house for your money. Now, who is Apex perfect for? Well, you're buying in Apex if you're raising kids, or maybe you're planning to. You value square footage and newness over proximity, and you want a yard for the dog, the trampoline, the whole setup. You like the idea of a neighborhood that feels like a retreat from the chaos of life. You want fewer surprises, so you like the fact that the house has a newer roof, newer HVAC, newer everything. And you're okay with a 25 to 35-minute commute to downtown Raleigh or to RTP. But here's what your Zillow tour won't show you. Apex is car dependent. So unless you live right around downtown Apex, you're driving to dinner, you're driving to coffee, you're driving to almost everything. Your teenager wants to meet friends, you're the Uber driver. Date night, you're should plan on 10 to 15 minutes of drive time each way. And resale, it's very strong, but can be sensitive to school zoning changes and builder competition than people realize. See, if a new development pops up, for example, with the same floor plan, but it may pop up and for sale for $50,000 less, your equity can stall. I've seen that happen. So let's talk about something no one really mentions in the listing description, your daily commute. Now, if you work in downtown Raleigh, you're looking at 30 to 40 minutes each way during rush hour. That's over an hour a day in the car minimum. Now, if you work in RTP, 20, 25 minutes, not too bad. If you work in Durham, you're pushing sometimes 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the time of day and if you use the toll road. So over a year, that's weeks of your life in the car. And you have to obviously factor that into your quality of life equation. Now, honest question, would you trade walkability and nightlife for a bigger backyard and a 3-car garage? Comment backyard or walkability in the comments below. Would love to see what you're thinking on that front. Now, let's talk Raleigh. And this is where expectations need a serious reset. What your $1 million buys is 2,500 to 3,500 square feet, sometimes smaller the closer you are to downtown, or larger as you move away. You'll see townhomes, condos, along with single-family homes, older construction. You'll see some homes you'll see here in just a minute, one of the neighborhoods dating back even to the 1800s. If you see newer construction for $1 million, it's most likely a townhome or condo, smaller lots on the single-family homes, less yard. You want to think character over cookie cutter. Think hardwoods, crown molding, unique layouts, proximity to culture, dining, and jobs. You're in the action. You're not buying square footage here. You're buying location, lifestyle density, long-term demand. Now, let's get specific about some real neighborhoods. At the $1 million mark in Raleigh, you're probably priced out of a neighborhood like Hayes Barton, although you may find a smaller home there, but more so, you're looking at neighborhoods like historic Oakwood, charming neighborhood with mixed architectural styles and some houses actually dating back to the 1800s, as I mentioned earlier. Mordecai, which looks like it should be pronounced Mordecai, but another historic district, quirky character homes, local coffee shops, young professional vibe, and then anything inside the Beltline, which is Interstate 440 loop that wraps around Raleigh. At this point, price point $1 million, it gets snatched up pretty fast. So the common thread here is location, location, location. You're paying for where you are, not how much house you are actually buying or getting for the price. Now, you're buying in Raleigh if you work hybrid or downtown and your commute matters. You want to walk to dinner or coffee or the park. You value neighborhood character over brand new finishes, and you're thinking long-term resale to professionals and executives who prioritize location. You don't need the 5,000 square foot home. You need a lifestyle outside of your house. You're an empty nester. You're a young professional who values experiences over space. You want to bike to breweries, not drive to them. Now, here's the hard truth. Raleigh may not be for everyone. You're going to compromise on size, and for some, that's non-negotiable. You might inherit quirky layout or deferred maintenance or older plumbing like cast iron pipes that connect the house to the city sewer system, and eventually, frankly, they just give out. After owning 18 rental properties built in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, trust me when I say I have experience in this area. So in addition, you might get a galley kitchen instead of an open concept kitchen. You might get a smaller master bedroom with a smaller closet. You might get a driveway that maybe fits 2 cars, but not 3. But here's the flip side. Resale demand in established Raleigh neighborhoods is extremely, extremely resilient. When the market softens, these homes hold their value better than subdivisions that are 20 minutes, 30 minutes out. And when interest rates spike and buyers get more selective, they choose location first over square footage. The investment angle that a lot of buyers don't consider is scarcity drives value. In Apex, builders can and do keep building. There's land, there's infrastructure, there's expansion. Inside the Beltline in Raleigh, there's a finite amount of land, and they're not making any more of those lots. That scarcity creates long-term appreciation that often outpaces newer suburban developments. I've seen houses inside the Beltline appreciate 40 to 50% in 5 years, even during softer markets, because there's simply no replacement inventory. Let me paint you a picture of what life actually looks like in Apex versus Raleigh. So Saturday in Apex, you wake up, you make coffee in your spacious kitchen. You let the dog out in your fenced backyard. You drive 10 to 15 minutes to grab brunch. You drive to Target. You drive to the park. You come home. You relax in your big living room. And then you drive 25 minutes or so to dinner in Raleigh. Now, let's take a look at a Saturday in Raleigh. You wake up. You walk 3 blocks to your favorite coffee shop. You walk to the farmer's market. You bike to brunch. You come home and read on your front porch. And then you walk 6 blocks to dinner and drinks. Neither is wrong, but one of those Saturdays sounds like your Saturday. And that's how you should be making this decision. Now, here's the part most agents won't tell you, and it's coming up here in the next 60 seconds. What's that? It's the hidden costs that no one factors in until really it's too late. All right, here's the section that might save you $30,000 to $50,000 over 5 years. Let's take a look at the hidden costs in Apex. So you've got HOA fees. Many newer communities run any $200, maybe higher, lower a quarter. Sometimes it depends on the amenities and how many houses they have to support those amenities. Driving costs, you've got gas, car maintenance, insurance on multiple vehicles, because remember, everyone needs a car. And then you've got the time cost of your commute. Really, it's almost like a second unpaid job. Calculate what your hourly rate is and multiply it by the commute hours. That will be a hidden cost to take into consideration. Now, let's look at hidden costs in Raleigh. Deferred maintenance on older homes mean older systems. Budget $10,000 to $30,000 for surprises in the first few years. Higher property taxes on properties inside the Beltline, and renovation costs. If you want to modernize, expect to pay premium prices for contractors in high-demand areas. The point isn't to scare you. It's to make sure you're budgeting for the real cost of ownership, not just the mortgage payment. All right, let's cut through the noise. Here's the simplest way to know which city is right for you. Choose Apex if you want space and you want predictability. You're raising kids or you're planning to. You value newer over closer. You're comfortable being car dependent. You want a home that feels like a retreat. You prioritize square footage and you don't mind the commute. Now, choose Raleigh if you want lifestyle, access, and walkability. You work downtown or hybrid. You're okay trading size for location. You prioritize long-term equity in established areas. You want your weekends to start the moment you step outside. You value community character over modern finishes. Neither is better. One really is more honest for the life you're actually living and the life that you desire. All right, here's where most million-dollar buyers mess up, and it has nothing to do with the house. They mess up when they choose a city before they understand the trade-offs. They fall in love with a listing, then realize 6 months later, it doesn't fit their life. My job isn't to sell you Apex or Raleigh. It's, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, to pressure test your decision so you don't end up with buyer's remorse and a mortgage you're stuck with. If you're planning a move and want a strategy session, not a sales pitch, the link is in the description, or connect with me using the number on the screen there. Let's make sure you're choosing the right city before you start touring homes. If this video helped you think more strategically and less emotionally, go ahead, hit subscribe, and share it with someone who is thinking about moving to the area. I break down the markets in Raleigh and Apex and Cary and Holly Springs, Morrisville and Fuquay Marina the way buyers actually need it. Honest, strategic, no fluff. And as always, I'll see you at the closing table or in my next video. I'm RJ Hoggard with the Hoggard Group and KW Legacy, and I'll see you soon.